the $30,000 Robby's Florida Classic from Fort Pierce Bowl in beautiful Fort Pierce, Florida. Well, it's been an exciting tournament. The finalists on the Robby's Florida Classic have averaged 230 on the TV lanes. So we should have some excellent competition among the top women bowlers in America. Hello, everybody. I'm Dwayne Dow, back with you on Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour nationwide on TBS with my partner, Virginia Norton. And, Virginia, I look forward to another excellent finals.
Well, it should be a great finals, and the field here this evening, there are three ladies that already know these lanes very well. They were on our show last year, so they're all ready, as well as the other two who certainly did well this week.
Rarely in pro sports does a defending champion repeat and win the title 2 years in a row. We have that possibility here.
We certainly do. As a matter of fact, the only time it's ever happened in the history of the LPBT was the last 2 years in Florida by Nikki Giannoulias, and she's got all kinds of credentials. She's Bowler of the Year 1982.
And so we have a player tonight on the finals who could win this tournament for the second straight year, and we'll talk about that and get to more of our finalist rundown. And so here we are in Fort Pierce, Florida, about an hour north of West Palm Beach on the Atlantic coast in the Sunshine State. In Virginia, another star-studded group of finalists on the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour in Robby's Florida Classic.
We certainly do, and these ladies have come a long way to get here, so let's get on with it.
Let's look at the field right now. Number 5.
In 5th position, Mary Ellen Handley from Pompano Beach, Florida, who recently married men's pro bowling star Bob Handley. This is her first television appearance, and she won the spot in a closely contested final match, beating, among others, the 1983 Bowler of the Year, Lisa Rathgeber. Her opponent in that first match, Pam Buckner from Reno, Nevada, who is making her second TV appearance of 1984. Pam is a 7-time pro titleist, 3-time All-American, and was honored with Reno's Distinguished Citizen Award in 1980. One of her titles is the prestigious WIBC Queen. Our third position bowler, Lori Nichols from Algonquin, Illinois, a 12-year touring pro who is the defending champion here at Fort Pierce Bowl. She is one of the strongest television competitors on our tour, as evidenced by a 224 career TV average. Our second position bowler, Aleta Sill from Cocoa, Florida, who won 2 titles last year and is starting this year out very well. Her first and only 300 game resulted in her winning a new car. She is making her second consecutive TV appearance, finishing 3rd last week. Our tournament leader, Tish Johnson from Downey, California, who overpowered the field by a margin of over 250 pins. Her one pro title came in a non-televised event, but she has lost from the number 1 position 4 times and is hoping to overcome that jinx tonight.
Right, and the first match coming up, it's going to be Mary Ellen Handley versus Pam Buckner. Stand by. Shaking hands with Pam Buckner in the bright gold outfit as she sits down in the crowd here. Woman in the cherry skirt is Lisa Rathgeber, 1983 Bowler of the Year. With her hands folded, watching the action, she was in 6th place. Narrowly missed these finals. And here, Mary Ellen Handley, her first delivery ever in front of national television cameras. And she threw it with authority.
And she really made a good shot. For an opening shot, and you can see how pleased she is. She's got a very delightful smile. She's the kind of a person that generally is very nervous, but this tournament she has had her nerves very much under control and has certainly done well.
And now, a woman overdue when it comes to winning a championship on the tour. Always in the finals, it seems. Pam Buckner. And Pam, oh my goodness, as that pin topples between the 3 and the 9.
It looks like Pam doesn't want to get slow. If anything, the tendency Pam has is to get a little bit slow. She lets the ball hook too much. She makes bad shots. That one, she went out firing. She threw the ball a little bit too hard. Therefore, it slid by. She's now got to pick up the 3-9.
With a urethane bowling ball, Pam Buckner, left-hander from Reno, Nevada, and converting the spares so we're even. After one frame, it looks to me, Virginia, as if we're going to have 2 aggressive top woman bowlers going at each other in this match.
Well, this match and all of the rest of them this evening, they all have very aggressive styles, and they all want very badly to win. I think probably if there is one that wants to win the most, it has to be this lady right here. Pam Buckner has not won in over 3 years. She does not have a title in the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour, and she wants that very, very badly.
And the left-hander, Pam Buckner, is light and left the bucket for the lefty, the 3-5-6-9, and there's Pam's husband.
Yes, this is Steve Buckner. He flew out just this week. As a matter of fact, he and his parents are here watching Pam, and she kind of feels like they've been a good luck charm to her this week.
Now Pam trying for the spare in the second frame of the Robby's Florida Classic Finals. So Buckner, 16 pins through the first, spare up in the second. Mary Ellen Majors for the lead right now, 4 pins.
Yes, and most importantly, she's on a strike, and she would like to get off to a very good start here.
Well, she is married to a male pro known as the Cranker, Bob Handley.
Bob Handley is definitely one of the biggest crankers on tour. Here we're going to get a chance to look at the last shot. This lane is a little bit tighter, and as you'll watch, the ball does not break as sharply. Slides by, 2-4-5 spare to convert for the spare.
And now back is Mary Ellen Handley, just missed on that spare attempt, and that ball just stuck right down the middle of the lane.
Well, a lot of times what happens on that spare, you have to kind of get used to the way you want to shoot it. All week, shooting it from right in front of the spare has worked for Mary Ellen. That time, there must have been a little extra lane conditioner in the center of the lane, and it skidded out.
Mary Ellen with that open gives an opportunity to Pam Buckner, but Pam doesn't take advantage when she opens in her third frame. Buckner then doubles in the fourth and fifth. Mary Ellen responds to the spare strike, then back-to-back spares before she opens again in the seventh. But Pam once more can't take advantage as she also opens in the seventh. Anybody's match here in the eighth frame as Pam Buckner tries to jump out and leaves the 10-pin.
A little bit light on that shot. Pam had an earlier shot that carried like that. This one, the 10-pin didn't fall, but she still is in the lead by 3 pins if she can convert this spare.
Trying to convert the 10-pin in the 8th frame. And Pam Buckner does to retain her lead of 3 pins. She's 114 through the 7th with a spare up in the 8th. Handley 111 and open through the 7th frame. Robby's Florida Classic, first match of the finals in the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour. $30,000 purse strike from Mary Ellen Handley as she keeps the pressure on Buckner. Buckner continues to lead by 3 after 8 frames.
That was a much, much better shot. This time you're going to watch her be able to follow all the way through her target. The ball comes off her thumb much sooner, and she carries.
We asked Mary Ellen about bowling on national television for the first time.
I'm sure I'll feel quite a bit of pressure being this is my first time bowling on TV. I'll try to compose myself and look at it as I'm bowling against the pins with no TV cameras and no lights.
How many times do you come down to the 9th frame and say this could be the biggest shot of the match as Handley goes for a double?
And she's got to be very pleased with that shot because she actually lost it. She didn't follow through, but she had enough direction to get it to the pocket and carry. So now she has the lead, and Pam Buckner steps up in the 9th frame, down by 7 pins.
The lead has gone back and forth. Buckner needing a strike here in the ninth. She trails by 7 pins. Oh, she left the 7 pin. A 9-pin count.
And that was probably one of the best shots Pam has made this entire game. She had the ball rolling well. It did not quite finish enough to kick the 7 out.
Pam Buckner's 13th career television appearance. And sparing in the 9th. Handley making her first TV career appearance. You'd have to give Buckner the edge in the matchup just off those statistics as we look at Mary Ellen Handley, very attractive woman out of Florida. Buckner in the 10th, trying to put some pressure on her opponent. And no, leaving that 5-pin in the middle of the lane.
I'm sure she felt very fortunate about that, because you're going to see the ball slide a little bit past the 5-pin as it drives through the pocket. And she almost left the 5-6 on this shot, but she was able to get a good break on the 6 as it fell forward. And she still has to make this spare.
And does. So one more shot for Pam Buckner, who can finish with 172 should she strike. And now Mary Ellen Handley needs a spare to win if Buckner comes up with any kind of count here.
And unfortunately for Pam, if she were to lose this match, it would be her 6th consecutive TV loss.
Looking at it another way, she's made a lot of finals recently, right?
That's exactly right. She's been here very, very many times. Just had not a lot of luck.
Buckner shot 171 with 2 splits. She had only 2 strikes in the match. And now Handley, working on a double here in the 9th, needs to pick up a spare. Mary Ellen Handley coming into the pocket and making no doubt about it with the first turkey of the finals here in the Robby's Florida Classic. She has won this one and will go on to meet Lori Nichols in our next match. Here we go with Mary Ellen Handley, now married, versus Pam Buckner. That was the last match. Mary Ellen now takes on Lori Nichols out of Chicago, the defending champion in the Robby's Florida Classic.
And Mary Ellen doing a great job in her first television appearance, striking when she needed a mark in the 10th frame.
And throwing the ball firmly on her first ball of this match, as she threw the ball firmly in her first ball in the victory over Pam Buckner, 181 to 171, but the result a little different here.
She went a little bit high, was able to break down the split. She has to convert the 4-7 to have a spare in the first frame, and then we're going to get our first look at the defending champion.
Handley going right at that 4-7 and picking up the spare she needs in the first frame. And now, Lori Nichols, currently out of Algonquin, Illinois, a distant suburb of Chicago. Very intense player, tends to criticize herself when things aren't going badly. And she has some excellent accomplishments. 3 tour wins in 1983, a light hit there in the 2-4-5.
And that one, again, she slid by the head pin a little bit. I think that she may not have been totally lined up when she finished her practice balls earlier. You saw the same thing happen when Mary Ellen rolled her first ball of the first match on that lane. That lane is a little tighter, and she'll need to make an adjustment also.
Lori Nichols' first appearance on these finals as she qualified number 3 after the 42 games of qualifying and match play. Nichols concentrating, coming up with a strike and blasting the pins down in the second frame. 20 pins in the first, strike in the second, the match is even.
And this looks exactly like the Lori Nichols that we saw win here just a year ago. Nice firm shot and a perfect pocket hit.
Mary Ellen Majors coming off a spare in the first frame. She responds to Nichols' strike by leading a split. And there is the 4, 6, 7, a tough one.
That ball actually looked, if you'll watch her elbow, she overturned it. Her elbow went to the side, and she went through the nose.
All right. Mary Ellen Handley going open in the second frame. 26 pins through the second frame and open. Lori Nichols leading by 14 pins at the end of 2. For the second consecutive match, Mary Ellen Handley opens in the second frame. And again, her opponent, this time Lori Nichols, fails to take advantage of the opportunity when she opens in her third. Mary Ellen is having a tough time on the right lane, and she opens again in the fourth. This time, Lori does not return the favor, and so we pick up the action with Lori Nichols up. Eighth frame. Nichols leading by 18. Have that feeling this one is a long way from being over, though. Lori comes in, a toppling strike, shaking them up.
And that's the kind of strike we saw very, very often in this last week. If you were able to get some sidewall action, which is exactly what happens here, you were able to carry a lot of light strikes. And she liked that one.
A little Windy City dance there for the woman from Chicago. Chicago against Florida here. Mary Ellen Handley responding to the challenge to stay in the match. Handley 109 through the 7th, strike in the 8th. Nichols 127 and a strike in the 8th.
And Mary Ellen feeling very, very comfortable on this lane. Nice and firm, excellent shot to stay only 18 pins behind. Mary Ellen now on the lane that is giving her some trouble at this point. She's been light, she's been high, and this time she hits the pocket, but once again, that stubborn 10-pin stands.
She's running out of frames, Virginia. It's the 9th.
Here she rolls the ball fairly well. She's made a good adjustment on the lane, and she thinks she's got a chance, but the ball broke a little bit late, and you can see the 6-pin in the channel just not able to tap out the 10.
Handley going strong toward the 10-pin and picking up the spare. She stays within striking distance, 129 in the 8th and a spare in the 9th for Handley, to Nichols 127 through the 7th and a strike in the 8th. That translates to a lead of 18 pins for Nichols, and now neither bowler has struck twice in a row in this match. Nichols trying for the first double of the match.
And that looks like the Lori Nichols that we have seen time in and time out on this tour. She is a very strong competitor, and if you give her a chance late in the match, she is extremely good under pressure.
And so, with that double in the 8th and the 9th frames, Lori Nichols here, bowling in the 10th, has clinched victory in her first television match. That double becomes a turkey in the 10th, and Lori Nichols bowls a 205, enough to beat Mary Ellen Handley by 28 pins. Lori advances to the third match. To our third match coming up now in the Robby's Florida Classic Finals.
Aleta Sill up first, and she's decided that she probably likes the right-hand lane better. That's why she opted to finish on that lane.
And the left-hander, Aleta Sill, striking to start the match.
And she looked awfully good during her practice shot, so I have to think that she's pretty well lined up. And as we already know, This lady from Algonquin, Illinois, is well lined up as she defeated Mary Ellen Handley 205 to 177 in the last match.
Third match of the finals in Florida, and the 4-7 for Lori Nichols.
Lori a little bit slow on that shot. She looked like maybe she just didn't have quite enough speed. Maybe her concentration wasn't quite right.
Wherever the women bowlers go in your area, be sure you go out and watch them, because the tour goes nationwide. Watch the newspapers. A lot of great action before the televised finals in every tournament, qualifying and match play. And these women go head-to-head for 24 games following 18 games of qualifying before they cut to the top 5, which you see on TBS television regularly. And tell your friends about our telecast around the United States. We know that all bowlers are looking forward to this constant coverage of the top women pros on Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour on the TBS network. Now, second frame, Lori Nichols.
A little bit wide.
Yes, he's like 245.
She actually looked like her arm swing got away from her side that time, and because of that, she lost the good lift and leverage she needed to get the ball to hook into the pocket. Early in the match, still, but Aleta Sill always a big threat. Lori Nichols now having to convert the 2-4-5, and that again has been a tough spare. We saw Mary Ellen Handley miss it in the first game.
32-year-old Lori Nichols sparing in the first 2 frames of this third match of the finals, and Aleta Sill leads by 3 pins. A couple of years ago, this young woman, originally out of Detroit, weighed 160 pounds. Now, 135, and still shedding weight.
She mentioned before the show that she was losing enough weight that the original uniform she had planned to wear was a little too large, so she opted for this one, and she's thinking it may be good luck right now.
But luck has a way of changing as Aleta opens in the 3rd and 4th frames. Lori Nichols marks in her first 6 frames. 3 strikes, 3 spares. And she's up in the 7th as we are joined by an interested observer. Lori Nichols, 77 to the 4th, and a double up. And Tish Johnson, tournament leader. Nice to have you with us, Tish, and you've had a tremendous tournament.
Well, I feel really good about the way I've been bowling the last couple weeks, and hopefully maybe this time I might be able to win a tournament on TV.
She's got that winning smile, Virginia. Look at that confidence.
She certainly does. Tish, the big question here is probably, do you have a preference as to who you'd like to bowl in this last match?
Well, I've been bowling good against Aleta. I would like to bowl Aleta. But really, it doesn't really matter. Lori's a good bowler. I like to bowl Lori also because she's the defending champion. You know, that would be really nice.
Okay.
All right.
So looking at prior scores in this tournament, you did defeat Aleta twice in this tournament, but you went down to defeat by Lori. Is that on your mind?
Not really. I really feel confident going into tonight. I practiced on the lanes earlier. They're nice. I feel like I got a pretty good shot.
Sounds like she's ready to give a great effort in this championship match against the survivor of this one. And Lori Nichols leaving the 10-pin, coming off a spare in the 7th frame, and now Nichols goes to 145 through the 7th and hoping for a spare in the 8th. Another look.
On this ball, Lori came up a little bit too much at the line, lost a little leverage. You'll see the ball not quite finish enough, and again, the 6 goes to the channel and can't knock out the 10.
Going down with Virginia Norton, and the tournament leader, Tish Johnson, is watching as you watch Lori Nichols pick up the spare in the 8th frame. Tish, what have you been doing now before your chance to bowl here? Have you been warming up on the left over there and getting ready to go?
Yeah, I have. I've also been trying to relax a little bit, trying to get my mental game together to come out here and bowl good.
You seem very calm and very confident right now.
I'm trying to. I've been sort of relaxed the last couple times I've been bowling on TV, and right now I'm a little bit nervous.
And a strike for Aleta Sill as she doubles for the 2nd time in the match. and trails by 11 pins, slicing that lead. Actually, 10 pins is Nichols' advantage at this point.
And this was an excellent shot by Aleta. She needed this one badly. It's getting late in the match. She just cut the lead to 10 pins.
And Dave Sill, his eyes lighting up, knowing that his wife is making a comeback and can virtually dead even the match on this shot.
Excellent, and this is the kind of competition you saw. You can see how happy Dave is about that shot. We are dead even in the match with a frame and a half to go. Aleta striking in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. Lori Nichols on a spare coming up in the 9th. Needs a strike to stay even.
Tish Johnson with us for the luxury as tournament leader to just watch and see who's going to claw to the top of the mountain here to battle for the championship against her, and Nichols striking in the 9th. Tish, I'd like your comment here maybe on this replay. Can we talk about Lori here?
Well, she knew it was there. Just a matter of carry.
And carry she did. Okay, 10th frame. Nichols on a strike. The match is even. The winner to play, the woman on our right, Tish Johnson, and she threw that one out the right field and almost got the carry that Tish was talking about.
She lost that ball, and she knew it the minute she did, and she is very upset with herself. She never even saw what almost happened.
Okay, Nichols trying to pick up the spare. Oh, she needs this one. And she picked up that spare. The target area there is about half the lane for that particular spare.
Okay, but this is an important shot for Lori. Lori wanted to strike out so she could really put the pressure on Aleta. At that point, if she had struck out, she would have forced Aleta to do the same thing. Right now, Lori needs a strike to force Aleta to strike her first ball in the 10th. So pin count is very important right here.
Final ball of the match for Nichols.
And she went high, leaving the door a little bit wider open for Aleta.
Nichols shot at 203.
And here she doesn't make the best shot, and she knows it. She's just hoping for a break on the count. Aleta right now needs a 9-pin count, spare, and strike to win this match.
So she has to have at least 9 on this ball.
If she gets 8 spare strike, we have a tie.
7, she's out.
That's correct.
This is it. She needs at least 8 for a tie. 9 to win it.
That's a good shot.
And win it she does. 4 strikes in a row, a 4-bagger for Aleta Sill, starting in the 7th frame. And so a comeback victory for the woman originally from Detroit, now who runs a pro shop with her husband Dave at Merritt Island, Florida. Aleta winds up with a 213 and advances to the championship match, where she'll face Tish Johnson. Tish Johnson versus Aleta Sill for the championship of Robby's Florida Classic. And here she is. You heard her comment during the 3rd match of the televised finals. And an exciting match it was, with Aleta Sill beating Lori Nichols 213 to 203. So Nichols will not successfully defend her title in this tournament.
No, but she certainly has to like her performance here. 3 years on the show, all 3.
And Tish Johnson wanted it. She has the bit in her mouth. She wants this championship. She led the field by 266 pins after 42 games of qualifying and match play.
That's right, but this lady was her toughest competitor all week long, Aleta Sill, and you just saw her throw a very crucial strike to be in this position in the final match.
And Aleta Sill, who has rallied late in matches in recent television performances. And that's a great characteristic. Of course, you hate to dig yourself a hole to begin with. But she has shown the ability to come back and make it tight no matter how far she is down.
Well, and she's fully aware how big and important spares are. She mentioned it during the interview. She doesn't like missing spares, and she knows it makes her work even harder. So she's probably going to work very hard shooting spares this match.
Well, she concentrated and converted that one to keep the match even at the end of 1 frame. And that hard work just shows what kind of bowler Aleta Sill is. Many athletes would tend to relax if they had the kind of year she had in 1983. A second place in the U.S. Open, a $25,000 winner's check in the Queens, and another tournament championship in Dallas.
Aleta Sill. We mentioned she has a black belt in karate. We have yet to mention, but we will now, that she has raced motorcycles in motocross competition in the native Detroit. She told me, she said, Dwayne, I've always been a tomboy.
Well, it's not only that, it's the competitive spirit, and this shot will show you what kind of competitor she is. She doesn't back off at all. This game is all offense.
Tish Johnson can take the lead if she strikes here in the second frame. Oh, she has owned this tournament. She just, with us in the previous match, she looked so confident. As confident as I've seen her look in any of the stops on the Florida segment of the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour.
Well,
no nervousness, no apprehension.
I think the biggest thing is late in the tournament, after we had gotten into match play, she switched bowling balls. A little bit different balance weights to create a different reaction on the lane, and it created unbelievable carry.
Nice follow through for Johnson and leading the 7-10 split, and would look to me like a perfect hit.
And she is upset about this. She rolled this ball really well. You're going to see a lot of power as the ball enters the pocket, and the 5-pin on this ball should carry the 10. It just rips so hard it goes behind the 10.
And back, picking up the 7-pin, going open with a split, and so Sill with the lead.
And she can extend this lead right here.
Aleta Sill on a strike. Leading already. Trying to push it out further. If she can double here in the third frame of the Robby's championship match. What a solid hit.
And that's what you would call going for the gusto. She made an excellent shot right there.
She's known for her game face. Let's see if she breaks that stone face look here.
She knows it's a good shot. And that's a typical Aleta Sill reaction. If it were later in the match, you might see a whole lot more dancing around, but there's a lot of frames left as we're only in the beginning of the fourth frame here for Aleta, working on a double.
These two left-handers in the championship match going for everything. $5,000 top prize. Aleta Sill with a turkey. Now, Aleta Sill with 50 pins in the second, working on 3 in a row, and she is leading by 24 pins.
And she's getting stronger with every ball. She was a little tentative early in her first match, but since she threw that ball that gave her the victory in that match, she has really come on strong.
But don't count this woman out. Tish Johnson, who led by 266 pins, dominating the field before this match.
Over that big lead as we pick her up in the 7th frame.
Well, at one time, Aleta Sill was trailing Lori Nichols by 21 pins in the 6th frame and wound up winning 213 to 203. So Johnson trailing by 22 in the 7th, not out of it yet. And she left the 6-10, and right now she can't buy a strike.
No, that was an excellent shot, and she's a little bit disturbed with that one. She said, hey, I finally made a good shot, and now I'm not able to carry. She still isn't out of this match, though.
No.
And Aleta, well aware of that, is going to try and continue to put the pressure on her.
Remember, Sill had back-to-back errors early in her match against Nichols, which she rallied to win. And there's Johnson remaining within striking distance with that spare in the 7th frame. And now Sill can push that lead ahead to 35 pins if she strikes here in the 7th. $6,000 top prize.
I don't think either lady is really thinking about the money at this point. They each want a title. And early in 1984, we are looking for maybe some early contenders for Bowler of the Year.
Oh, a solid hit. And Aleta Sill going out to a lead of 35 pins. Now, let's watch her reaction. Let's see if she's breaking that stone face on this shot, partner.
Aleta now knows that she is getting closer to that title with every strike. And you can see how happy she is.
Very personable woman. Worked hard. Her grandparents did a lot in bringing her up and starting her in bowling in suburban Detroit.
I think one of the things she's happiest about is they were there when she won in the WIBC Queens last year.
But look at this, the left-hander's washout, the 1-3-7.
Well, and that could be the opening that Tish needs. She lost this shot on the downswing, and when she followed through, she had nothing left. She wasn't able to lift the ball.
Well, this would open the door for Johnson. On the other hand, it would almost shut the door if Aleta can pick this one up, which she does not do. Her first open, each woman open. Johnson early in the match on a split. Here on the washout, Sill open, 173 through the 8th and open. Her lead, 30, well, it's now actually 20 pins.
So Tish is right back in it, but she knows she has to start striking right here.
8th frame. Plenty of time for this strong left-hander from California.
And there you go. There again. The competitor in Tish is showing right here. She's given an opening, and she makes one of the best shots of the game. Her reaction, she knows it and wants it.
We asked Tish Johnson why and when she decided to turn pro.
Well, I decided to turn pro after I was college for 1 year. I played basketball, and I hurt my knee. And after that, I had 6 months to lay off because I had surgery done, and I had other things, rehabilitation, and I didn't want to go back and play basketball again because the doctor said I couldn't. So then I was a good bowler at the time, and I decided to turn professional.
A varsity college basketball player while she attended College of the Eureka's in Redwood, California before hurting her knee, forcing her out of the game she loved, basketball. And now she knocks down 6 pins, but fortunately, Virginia, she was on a strike. It could have been so much worse had she been on a spare.
That's absolutely right. She doesn't lose any pin count here, but she made an adjustment. She's trying to maybe go a little bit light and rip the rack. Here, it doesn't come back.
And converting the 1-3-9-10. And here is, you see the bandage on the left hand of Aleta Sill. She has suffered tendonitis.
That's correct. And at times, it causes her to lose the shot like she lost the last ball when she left the washout. But she's made it through many, many tournaments, and what she does is she actually tapes it up to give it a little extra support.
Now trying to spare in the 9th. 20 pins is the lead for this woman. She holds that lead heading into the 10th frame. So 173 in the 8th and a spare up in the 9th. And now we go to the 10th.
And this is a very critical shot for Aleta. She's checking the scoreboard, and the condition is this. She needs a mark. If she can mark, she'll be over 200. Well over 200, probably in the 2 teens. Tish Johnson, the best score she can have if she strikes out is 203.
First ball, 10th frame. Sill ahead by 20 pins. Trying for her first 1984 title.
And that's it. So there again, we see the competitiveness and the ability to bowl under pressure. Aleta making those critical shots when she needs to.
Aleta Sill, the champion of Robby's Midwest Classic, a disappointed Tish Johnson, and she appears to be on the verge of tears. Here's the first ball of the 10th frame, the winning shot for Aleta Sill.
She rolled this ball just excellently, and you can watch how strong the ball hit. Here's her reaction to the winning shot. She knows it's close. Just carry. Yes.
So Tish Johnson shot a 192. Aleta Sill, a 223. And for Aleta Sill, she had 8 strikes in the championship match. We'll get a chance to talk to the winner of the Robby's Florida Classic, Aleta Sill, after these words.
Back after another exciting championship, and Aleta Sill did it in style, Virginia.
She certainly did. Once she got that critical strike on the next to last match, it was like she was coasting from that point on. Tish had a little bit of problem carrying, a little bit of problem with concentration, and it's almost like Aleta knew it and took hold of the match.
Come on up, Aleta Sill, the champion of the Robby's Florida Classic. Great win.
Thank you very much. I don't know what else to say.
What else to say? Tell me how you came back to win that match against Lori Nichols. That was quite a comeback.
Well, I just knew that I had to start striking or else I would lose, so I just really concentrated hard. And
how about the back-to-back errors?
Oh, God, I was so upset over that. It was just stupid.
Okay, maybe a little bit of insight. When I interviewed you just before the last match, we talked about the fact that maybe Tish would rather bowl you than Lori. I mentioned that. Did that maybe pump you up a little for the last match, or did it have no effect at all?
It didn't have really any effect. I wasn't thinking about anything but just trying to bowl well.
All right, Ken Matthews, proprietor now. Let's bring Ken up, who is the gentleman who runs Fort Pierce Bowl. Ken, young man, 28 years old, running this bowling center.
Thank you. Aleta, a check for $6,000 and a dozen roses to buy you a vase with. You're very good bowler.
Thank you.
You're doing great. You're getting flowers for winning the Queens last year. What are you going to do with all these flowers?
Put them in vases.
And Robbie Robinson, one of the great backers of women's bowling in the United States, and the sponsor of Robby's Florida Classic. Hello, Robbie.
Well, it's a real pleasure to be here. And I've seen some real good bowling, and I was rooting for a girl in a red skirt so I wouldn't be prejudiced. And I think the right girl won it.
That's quite a trophy.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's number 1 for 1984. Last year, you won a big one, the Queens, and then came back and shot a 300, won a new car, made over $40,000. You're on a roll, my friend.
I hope so. I hope it continues, too.
Virginia and I will return with our final thoughts after these messages.